Okay, Likutei Moharan, Tereches. We are, of course, holding towards the end of Seif Tes, I believe. Yeah. Actually, when the second is V'zeh Bechinos, this is what it says. Mashanem, and this is Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Tzitzicha Mitzrayim. He says, Harchev Picha V'maleh, widen your mouth and I shall fill it. The mouth is the kli for shefa. That's why you have to daven for everything. It makes a keli for shefa, because that's the malchus, and the malchus is there, the shefa comes. And the lack is being fulfilled. And this, B'chinas malufim. Malufim is the nekuda where you make a vav, and there's a dot inside, and it goes, the sound is u, or but Chassidim is e, right? That's but they call it malipim. Okay, this is B'chinas malufim. This is the semen of the vav with the nekuda in the middle. Some sounds in Hebrew they call it shuruk. Yeah. Don't call it malupim, call it shuruk. But in Kabbalah they call it malupim. Because malupim actually is made out of two words in Aramaic, which is melo, which is filled. Pum is mouth. Malupim is called a filled mouth. Achev picha v'maleh, widen your mouth, and I shall fill it. So in the word malupim you already have, malupim, the whole mouthful, it's the malupim from the lashon, you have malupim, and the inyan is as follows. Okay, malupim, how do you write malupim when you want to look this out? Is yud and vav, which is it's vav and yud. The yud and the vav is the vav is the vav, and the nekuda inside the vav is like a yud. Okay, this is gematria 10. The yud is gematria 10, and this is v'hu bechinas. This is a very, very, very high bechina, which is called yud mine defikin. This is the 10 type of pulses. Medicine today, they rely on machines. But before they had the machines before, they had good doctors then as well. What they used to do is that they used to diagnose, they had the sensitivity because they had the acumen, because that's what they had, to tell 10 different kinds of pulse in the hand. The different kind of, such a pulse, such a pulse, such a pulse, such a pulse. I have a friend, a doctor in New York, that told me when he was an intern, he says that the doctors from India, used to come from India, he says being that they didn't have that much machinery in India, they were very, very, very good at telling things from the pulse, because they had to learn. So there's 10 different kind of pulses. Now the pulse is the union of, there's a ruach there. To dum. There's a ruach that drives it. All the people that make all this, they have this dinyanis about how the world created itself and this and that and all the kind of shit. Says, but what drives it? That they cannot understand. Okay, so something happened, but what is the driving force? You can see that everything in the world is nifsat v'nichla. Everything just disintegrates. What is this force that causes renewal? They have no explanation for that. You can see everything dies, everything falls apart. That's the rule of nature. In fact, it's one of the laws of physics. It says that order precedes chaos. First of all, there's order, and afterwards there's chaos. In other words, there's a glass on the table, falls on the floor, it smashes to pieces. But pieces from the floor don't jump and become a glass on the table. Order always precedes chaos. In other words, everything disintegrates. Everything goes into nothing. So what is the driving force that makes things renew themselves all the time? For them, it just is. Well, it just is. What do you mean? Explain it. That's the ruach. That's the ruach Elokim Mechav Bnei Hamayim. That's the ruach that drives the pulse. So it says that 10, the malufim is Yud Minei Dfikin. This is 10 type of pulses, which corresponds Keneged Yuda Dibros, the 10 Dibros. Now, Doifek Waladei Ruach. Now, the pulse is driven by the spirit, by the ruach. Because the spirit in the heart, it pushes the blood because to all the different limbs of the body all the time. And this is the end of the pulse, that through the blood, it claps all the time, all the parts of the body. And being that the pulse is driven by the ruach, that's why this supernal Indian of the Ruach Chaim that enlivens the world, that gives vitality to the world, is called doifek, it's called pulse. This is why this is 10 types of pulses. Because the spirit is the pulse. It exists in the Torah. And it says, Elokim Mechav Bnei Hamayim, the Tikkun Israel says, Mayim da'oraisa. The water represents water. The water represents Torah. So, we find that the Yud, in this Malufim, the Yud represents the Ruach Chaim. Now, Vav, what about the Vav of the Malupim? Malupim is Vav with the Yud in it. Okay, so we gave an explanation of what the Yud is. The Yud is the Ruach Chaim, that's the pulse, the 10 different pulses. Okay, what's the Vav? Vav, if you remember, we said it's all the time that a Yud is just a Nakuda. That's the Mayim, that's the fountain. The Vav is the Amshacha, the draws, like there's a water comes out and you want to make a tunnel to water your field. What do? You dig, you make Amshacha. Amshacha, that's the Vav. Amshacha is the Vav. So he says the Amshacha, the Vav, because Amshacha Saruach, that's the drawing of the Ruach. Because the Vav is like a pipe. Hainu Malufum, that constitutes this wonderful instrument called Malufum. Melopum, that the mouth is full. By being mamshich the ruach, when you draw in the ruach, the chisaron gets fulfilled. This is widen your mouth and I should fill it. Whatever it is you need. The chisaron is this, the ruach chaim, which fulfills the chisaron, or b'chinas malufim. That's why we say when a person sighs and he draws out a lot of wind, a lot of ruach from his mouth, you see that his mouth gets filled with ruach, right? Because you're blowing it out, which means that there's a lot of ruach in your mouth. This anocha fulfills the chisaron. That's why malufim, that is a bechina of the fulfillment of the chisaron, is already called melofum. The mouth is full. And this is what the pasuk alludes to. Achev picha, widen your mouth, and through this vamaleo. This is I will fill it up. We'll continue tomorrow.